Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Depending on from which place have you joined this webinar. Uh, if you are looking for engagement history reports and dashboards on Pardot, you are in the right place. Let's just give a few more seconds for other people to join and then you will start. Okay, I think let's start. So again, hello everyone. I am Neeraj Garg and I am the Chief Operating Officer at Aplusify. I lead a team of around 300 plus developers who are actually Salesforce and AMS consultants and actually work with our global clients to support them globally in managing their Salesforce and AMS ecosystems. So today's webinar is all about the Salesforce engagement history and how we can actually see these kinds of dashboards and engagement history in Salesforce. So before I actually start the webinar, I just want to launch a quick poll to understand what we think about engagement history. Just give me a second and launch this poll. So this should be on your screen now. And the poll question is, do you think engagement history is important? And you have to answer either yes or no. So let's give 15 seconds to answer. Okay. I think we have got the result and I think everyone agrees that engagement history is important. That's good to know, right? That's a good start. And I think every one of you may have heard about engagement history and how we can actually use that in Salesforce. So I think let's get started on this note. So before we actually move to Salesforce engagement history, let's first understand on how the marketing and sales team are connected, right? Because Salesforce engagement history is about the engagement of two systems, which is a marketing system called Pardot and a CRM called Salesforce. Okay. Now let's try to understand how this marketing to sales function works. Okay, before getting into a deep dive into the Salesforce engagement history so that we can understand it better. Now, if you see in this funnel, it's a marketing and sales funnel. Your first funnel is all about marketing, where your marketing team actually attracts and acquire leads. Now, that can be through SEO, through paid search, or maybe through social media and blogging, right? So you adopt different ways, your marketing team adopt different ways to attract and acquire leads. Okay, so once that leads have been attracted, we try to engage them. So the marketing team tries different web methods by maybe sending them either white papers or content which is interesting to them, so that they actually visit your website and maybe fill us a contact us form, right? So that we understand that they're actually interested. So that takes time and you nurture those leads and you keep nurturing them, right? Till you think they are actually ready for being passed on to the sales team. And that is where number 3 funnel comes, where your qualified leads, which your marketing team thinks are qualified, actually moves back to the sales team so that they can start talking to them and acquire them. Okay. So all this 1 and 2 and 3, that is how the marketing team data actually flows into the sales team and they get connected, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 are basically a combination of marketing and sales and how the marketing leads actually flow into the sales team. Okay, now before we actually understand what marketing team does, let's try to understand what are the different tools marketing team uses to either attract leads or engage leads, and what are the assets they use which are actually helpful for both the marketing and the sales team, right? And that will actually help us in understanding the engagement history better. Now let's all these tools that marketing team uses, whether it's a white paper or contact us page or a landing page, everything that is there is called a marketing asset, right? There are different tools that marketing team uses to acquire leads. Now let's take an example where there is an annual conference and the marketing team runs different campaigns, different links to attract the audience to that conference, right? So our step one is that there is an annual conference and the marketing team wants to run their marketing assets or their tools to acquire people to attend their conference. Okay, so all these stuff or tools that marketing team would be using for their annual conference, we call them as marketing assets. And these are all familiar terms, okay, and you might have heard of them. So landing page, okay, so they might use a landing page, right, which can be a conference landing page where they tell you about the event, okay, and they tell you on how to participate in that event, okay. So they prepare a landing page for them, which is actually a marketing asset, right, which is attracting and letting other members know that there is a conference and this is how you can actually attend that conference, and these are the dates for the conference, and this it gives you different links to actually register for that conference. Okay, so landing page can be one of the marketing assets. Then there are marketing links, right? So these can be different website links that are associated with that event, and they can be like your conference brochures or maybe your registration link. Okay, so information about conferences and then how they can actually register and the link through which they can register. Okay, so marketing links is again a type of marketing asset. Okay, then we can have something called marketing forms. These are forms which are used by the marketing team to promote that event. Okay, so it can be registration forms or maybe forms to answer your queries. So any kind of forms you can build to promote your event. And then you can have emails that actually go out to all the people who have registered, or invitations, or maybe reminder emails, pre-event emails, post-event emails, right? So that is another stuff that marketing team uses to promote any kind of event. So as you can see, all these stuff, landing page, marketing links, marketing forms, list email, they are all marketing assets which is used by the marketing team to promote their event, right? Now, all this information is just accessible to the marketing team in their tool, which they might be using, let's say Pardot, okay? But other teams are not aware about that, right? So you can't see like how your marketing assets are performing, or who opened your landing pages, or your sales team does not know how your marketing team is behaving. So to do that, there is something called Salesforce engagement history, which is an option in Salesforce. And if you enable that, you can actually see all these marketing data into Salesforce and pull different reports out of it. And that is what is called Salesforce engagement history, right? So Salesforce engagement history is a marriage of the marketing assets, right? Along with the campaigns that you run in Salesforce. So as I told you, there is an option in Salesforce which actually enables you to enable Salesforce engagement history. And what it does is, if you enable that, right, what you are doing is you are actually integrating Pardot with Salesforce. Okay. And once you have done that and you enable that Salesforce engagement history option, all of your marketing asset data, right? Now you understand what is marketing asset. Okay. All of your marketing asset data from Pardot will start flowing into Salesforce. Okay. So what does that mean? If that data flows into Salesforce, what will happen is, so everybody who opens that form which you had sent from annual conference or opens that links or emails, right? They start becoming visible to your sales users because the data is flown from Pardot to Salesforce. So all that data becomes visible to sales users. Now, when that data becomes available to sales users, they can actually see what marketing team is doing, how the Salesforce campaigns that they are running are being utilized by different marketing assets, and which marketing assets are working and which marketing assets are not working. And you can get that feel by creating reports in Salesforce, because we all know Salesforce provides a very great system about Salesforce reporting. There are so many reports available in Salesforce. Plus, Salesforce comes with a analytics engine called Salesforce Einstein, where you can analyze the data and maybe create metrics and dashboards to understand how your marketing campaigns are performing. Okay. Now, if you understand how your marketing campaigns are performing, or how your marketing assets that are linked to your campaign are performing, there is vast scope of improvement in your campaign. You can say that, oh, this email is working, right? Or maybe this landing page needs a bit of more work, or I need to send these white papers to them, or maybe our registration links are not working. So you can analyze your marketing campaign, right? And you can actually try and improve that, right? Now, what it also does is it actually gives you a visual feel of how things are shaping up. Because our human mind is actually more prone to see things visually and understand it rather than seeing it in a numbers form, right? So if we can build on dashboards and graphs and understand how those marketing campaigns are running, that is more useful, and that will actually help in improving your marketing. So let's try to understand how we can actually visualize this kind of data when it flows back into Salesforce, right? And how it actually helps. So in the next few slides, we are going to understand that. And meanwhile, while I'm running through slides, if you have any questions about the previous slides, maybe you can post it in your question and answers, and I will try to answer it then and there if possible. So I think we have covered marketing and sales, how they are linked. We have covered marketing assets on what they are and how they are associated with your campaign. And then what is Salesforce engagement history, where you are actually marrying Pardot and Salesforce, and that Pardot data flows into Salesforce and how it actually helps. So if you have any questions till now, feel free to post in the question and answers box. I will try to answer them. If not, maybe then I can move forward, and you always have the option to type it anywhere at any point. I will try to answer it at the end of the presentation. Now let's try to understand the benefits that we get out of that Salesforce engagement history, because now all the data that is there in Pardot, all your marketing assets linked to that campaign are actually now in Salesforce. So let's see what we can do with this data in Salesforce. Now, if you can see this screen, right, you can see that this is Salesforce, and on the right-hand side, you can see all your marketing assets, which can be your landing page, marketing links, marketing form, and list email, which are associated to your campaign, right? And on the left-hand side, they are bifurcated, right, with the events. So if you see landing pages, conference general information, how many views were there, 882, total forms submitted, 187, right? And the percentage of forms submitted out of the total views, which comes out to be 21.2%, right? So you can see that 888 people viewed it, right? And out of that, only 21% actually submitted the information. Similarly, with your marketing links, with your conference brochure, with your conference registration links, you can actually see what was the target URL and how many unique clicks were there. Similarly, marketing forms, which was actually the conference registration form, and the list emails, which you actually use for your campaigns. It can be your conference emails, conference invitation mails, conference reminder emails, right? And how they have actually performed, right? So marketing team can now visualize how their marketing assets are running for their particular campaign. Okay. So this gives you a very clear picture in Salesforce, right? And this data is available to sales users as well, and they can also view. Plus, maybe to your senior management as well, who wants to view how their campaigns are performing and how the different marketing assets related to that campaign actually work. Okay. So this is a biggest advantage of Salesforce engagement history, which is actually marrying Pardot and Salesforce and moving all your Pardot data into Salesforce so that you can start visualizing that data into Salesforce by using the Salesforce reporting capabilities and the Salesforce analytical capabilities. Okay. Now moving on. Now, if you can see here, since you have got your leads and contacts and your accounts in Salesforce, okay, you can visualize how your prospects are engaging with your assets. Okay. Now, if you see on the top here, you can see that the contact name is Bob, right? And these are your marketing assets. Okay. So the contact us page is your marketing asset. It's a type of a marketing form. And what Bob has done is he has viewed that on 21st of September 2020. And then he had also filled up this form. Okay. So you know that how your prospects are actually engaging with your asset. Similarly, you can say here, there is a white paper link that your marketing team might have sent, and your prospect Lindsay has actually viewed it and then downloaded it as well. Okay. So not only are you able to see how your marketing assets are performing, but you are also able to visualize how your prospects are able to view your different marketing assets and what they have done with your different marketing assets. And this is not only helpful for the marketing team, this is also helpful for the sales team because they can also see how the prospects have nurtured, right? What all they want to see, what is they are interested in, so that when the lead gets passed to the sales team, they're able to visualize and get that kind of history for that prospect, which would actually help them to close their leads well. Okay. Now we have got one question. Let's see what that question is. When I click on my campaigns tab and choose a campaign, how do I get my screen to break down the different segments? My screen looks nothing like this. Okay, so the question is that they have got a campaigns tab and they choose a campaign, but their screen does not look like the screen I'm showing here. I think the answer is there are different components within Salesforce engagement history. There is something called the Salesforce Lightning components. Then there are Salesforce dashboard components, Salesforce metrics component. I think if you have got your technical team who has done this integration, it would be worthwhile asking them on which components they have actually used for your Salesforce engagement history, right? And one of the things that you have to make sure before uh, breaking down your campaigns is that have you actually mapped your Salesforce campaigns with your Pardot campaigns? So there should be a one-to-one mapping between your Salesforce and Pardot and the different components that Salesforce provides for this Salesforce engagement history. Okay, so in the next slide, I will show you one of the Salesforce Lightning component that is used to display the metrics. Yeah? And obviously, if you don't get that answer from your technical team, maybe I will let you know. I will give you an email ID where our team can actually guide us on how you can do that. I think that answers your question. But if you still have doubts, we can help you out later after this presentation has been done. So I think let's move on. So now this is another, and I think I was talking about this engagement history, custom lightning component. This is another stuff where you can see this is a lead, Michael, okay, and you have got Pardot information stored here, okay, and then on the right hand side, this is something which has been made custom because you have got this engagement history for this lead, Michael, okay. So as I told you, you can see this information side by side where you can see uh, this lead, Michael, its engagement history. He actually was viewed your form maybe 11 months, 25 days ago. And then he again viewed your contact us form 1 month, 15 days ago. You can get this kind of history where you can actually visualize how your lead is performing. And that is the whole beauty of this engagement history, because you get to understand and your sales team gets to understand how your lead is performing with the different engagement marketing assets that you have set up for them. And it's very important to make sure that you have got the right assets associated with your campaign. Okay. That is something that you need to think through on how you want to run your campaign. So this is another component that can be used. Now moving on. This is another component which is called engagement dashboard. Okay. And you can actually pull this kind of report in Salesforce if you have got your Pardot data into it. And what it tells is it actually gives you both the views. So if you see the first view, that is more for the marketing team, where they are able to see this dashboard and see how their marketing assets are successful. Okay, so we have different marketing assets lined here: landing page, forms, custom URLs, right? And how they are performing with time on different campaigns that you are running. And maybe the this data that you see here at the bottom of the screen is more for the sales team members, where they are able to relate how their leads and contacts are engaging with the marketing assets and when was it that they last engaged. So this gives them a picture of whether your leads and contacts are still warm with you and what to tell them depending on the activity that they are doing with different marketing assets. Okay, so as an example, if one of your leads might have downloaded your white paper, okay, it's a clue for you that he's interested in that content, and maybe in future you can present him a more sophisticated content based on the content that you had provided before. Okay, and that ways your sales team, your marketing team can work hand in hand to maybe engage your members better, understand them better. And obviously, if you understand your members better, it's easy to bring them on board and have a long-term membership. So before you actually do this Salesforce engagement history, I think we have got one more question before we start the slide. Let's see. Someone is asking which component has that report. So let me go back, right? So this is the engagement dashboard, right? And this is one of the Salesforce dashboard component that you can use as a metrics in Salesforce. So if you have got Salesforce Pardot data in it, right? You can use Salesforce Lightning component, Salesforce metrics, Salesforce analytics engine to get all these kind of reports in your Salesforce. Because see, Salesforce, once you get the data from Pardot into Salesforce and you are able to associate with that campaign, Salesforce reporting, if you can see the tab reports, right? You can build your custom reports, you can build your other reports within Salesforce to get that kind of data. So this is not something which is, I think, out of the box available in Salesforce, but this is a report which you can actually build based on the data that you have in Pardot. Okay, so and this is again an engagement component only that we have in Salesforce. It's nothing new. You have Salesforce dashboards, you have Salesforce metrics, you have Salesforce Lightning components. All these are available in Salesforce once you switch on the Salesforce engagement history and are able to move that Pardot data into Salesforce. So, and if you think you are not able to get it from your development team, let us know and we will help you out with that in understanding. But we will have to understand on what components are you using in your Salesforce, because there are a lot of components and people are not aware of it, but they're all out of the box components that you can easily use if you have data in Salesforce. So before you actually get all these reports, there are certain prerequisites that you have to do for your Salesforce engagement history. And obviously, first prerequisite is that you need to connect your Salesforce and Pardot. And there is a Pardot Lightning app available in the App Exchange, which you can download, which actually helps you connect Salesforce with Pardot. Okay, so first prerequisite that you should install this connector. It's a very simple stuff. Okay, and then if you don't know what steps you need to follow after this connection, you can actually download the Salesforce implementation guide for Salesforce engagement history, and it will guide you through the entire process on what you need to do for that stuff. I think second prerequisite, as I told you before as well, is that you should have connected campaigns. What do we mean by connected campaigns? Connected campaigns means that your Pardot and Salesforce campaigns should be connected. There should be a one-to-one mapping that you should do after you have installed the connector and your Salesforce and Pardot are connected. Okay, you have to make sure that every Pardot campaign has a Salesforce campaign one-to-one. Okay, you cannot assign multiple Pardot campaigns to one Salesforce campaign. You have to do it one-to-one. You have to assign one Salesforce campaign with one Pardot campaign. And that is why it is called connected campaigns, because Salesforce and Pardot campaigns become connected, and then only you will get the desired results for your marketing assets. Okay, I think someone has raised a hand to ask some question. You can type your question in the chat box if you want to. I'm not sure. I don't see. Yeah, okay. So the question is, are there parent campaigns? Yes. There are parent campaigns and then there are child campaigns, right? And you can actually see both the parent campaigns and child campaigns within the Salesforce. There's an option for that. There is a toggle button, right, which says child campaigns, enable child campaigns or not. And you just have to select that button to see the child campaigns performance and your parent campaigns performance. So yes, you can see both the parent campaigns and the child campaigns if they are there within Salesforce. So that is an option available there. We have got one more question. Okay, I think that answers your question. Thank you. So obviously, you need to have connected campaigns because that is very essential. If you don't have connected campaigns, then obviously the mapping would not be correct and you will not have the right kind of results within Salesforce, right? You will not understand how your campaigns are actually performing with your marketing assets. Now, the third, it's not a mandatory, but it's a prerequisite. We just recommend, which I have been telling you, that you should align your marketing assets to campaigns correctly, and that will actually give you marketing results accurately. Because it's all about data, it's all about how your marketing campaigns are performing. Okay, so if you are able to revisit your campaign strategy, it's always good. So your marketing team should see how those marketing assets are performing, and maybe revisit and see, like, if you're not getting meaningful reports, you need to revisit and see how we can actually revise it. So I think this is the basics that is there in engagement history. And so just to summarize, you gain insight into how prospects are interacting with marketing assets from right within the Salesforce. That is the beauty of enabling Salesforce engagement history within it. Your marketing team can gauge which of their marketing assets are most successful, and your sales team can see which leads and contacts are interacting and when they last engage, as we saw in our last slide. Okay, and allowing them to quickly assess a prospect's level and areas of interest to help guide future conversation, because your teams, your sales team or your marketing team both can see what are the areas of interest for your members or your prospects, and you can provide them with the refined content in your next campaign. Or maybe you can run the campaign which are more successful and maybe stop those campaigns which you think are not so successful. You will also be able to identify which is your top marketing asset or which is your top campaign that is running. And you can revisit your marketing strategy and maybe design successful future campaigns. Because if you don't analyze all these things and you keep on running your campaigns, there is no point, because it's a waste of effort, and then you are not sure what is performing, what is not performing. And I think your best product needs more attention, and that you can only get once you see that kind of data visualized in Salesforce. And obviously, you need to understand what are the specific requirements for your prospects, because no one wants to have rubbish data floated to them. They want very, very specific stuff they are looking for. And if you send them that stuff, then they will be interested and your conversion rate will be more, right? And this targeted campaign, if you are able to run successfully, it will obviously turn into a long-term memberships. So I think this summarizes engagement history better, and it's a beginning to understand what engagement history is. In terms of technical stuff, there are many things involved that about the Salesforce components that are available. And maybe we will have future webinars which will guide you on that stuff as well. And if you're not sure how to do that, maybe we at Aplusify have been helping our customers globally to resolve these issues. And if you think you still have questions, you can mail us at vcare@aplusify.com, or maybe call us at 888-683-8281. This presentation will, and this recording for this session will be sent to everyone out here who has attended. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to actually type in the question and answer box, and I will try to answer them as much as possible. So let's see if we have any more questions. I don't think we have any more questions. But thank you everyone for attending this webinar and sparing your time to listen to me. And big thank you. And obviously, as I said, this recording and presentation will be mailed to you. And if you still think you have questions, feel free to mail us at vcare@aplusify.com. Thank you so much for attending. Appreciate it and have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.